Hi, today on the 6502 show, we're going to explore how to get VIC programs out of a PC and into an actual VIC using only the cassette interface.
These days, anything you'd want to play on your VIC-20, your Commodore 64, just about any other retro computer is somewhere on the internet. Someone's done it. And with the Commodore machines, normally you would use something like this or like this. You download your programs and then you would transfer them on an SD card. Well, what if you don't have one of those things? If you just have a simple tape recorder and a couple of pieces of free software and an audio cable, you're set. And here's how we're going to do it. We'll use that last program first, WAV-PRG, or perhaps WAV-PRG, or whatever you'd like to call it. It's up to you. We can either convert a sound to a PRG, or we can convert a PRG to a tape or wave. We want to go with a wave because we're going to actually record an audio cassette. First consideration, do we want to go fast or slow? Fast is turbo tape. And you can leave it on fast. That's fine. If you have a particularly stubborn file, you might want to use slow. We're going to change to an NTSC VIC-20 timing because that's what I have here in the room. And our output is going to be to a WAV file. We could send direct to a sound card if we wanted, or make a tap file. Now, this is very, very important. You must invert the waveform. Check that box. It will not work otherwise. And after that, we're going to change our waveform to a pure sine wave. Again, it just works better. Just do it.
Do it! Do it, do it, do it!
Okay. Now, we are on to choosing a program. Let's see. What shall we play? What shall I pick up here? How about Cento? And we get a little information in the bottom. Talks about what's going to be in here. And we'll open that. And now we're going to choose where we're going to save it. Yes, the file already exists because I was testing earlier. Anyway, there we go. Rock and roll. It's done. If your tape recorder has an auxiliary jack, that's the one you want to record into. If all you have is a mic jack, this will still work, but the levels that I tell you about here are going to have to change, probably be dropped quite a bit. Also, if you're running on Macintosh hardware, you might need an external sound card. I got this little cheapie here a long time ago. Works great. Apple hardware will automatically attenuate the audio level anytime you plug anything into the headphone jack, so be aware of that. All right, let's get set up with our levels. I've opened up ALSAMIXER to handle my little USB sound card, and I've set that to 75. And I've got about a couple extra dB of gain there to help it out. Here's some other settings you're going to want to consider. I'll leave this up for a few seconds so you can get a screen grab, but I'll be talking about this as we go. And you'll also find this information down in the description below. Okay, now we're ready to get our program into Audacity, our WAV file. So let's go load that thing. There's cento.wave, so we'll select that. And one thing you'll notice immediately is that waveform is maxed out. The amplitude is all the way to the top, super saturated, and that's the way it should be. That is not overdriven for this particular application. So now we're going to make sure our levels are correct. I want to get 75% on the Audacity output. We'd already set up the USB sound card with ALSAMIXER. And with that, we are ready to send this file out to our tape deck. All right, we're plugged into the auxiliary jack between there and the sound card. And let's get this party moving here. We'll get past the leader, and when you see the red dot light up, and you know the action's happening. And there we go. Program being transferred. This won't take very long because we used turbo tape mode when we made the wave, and it was a pretty small program to begin with. And voila, she is done. Now we move over to the VIC-20 itself. Let's reset the tape counter and load up this program. Hitting play, and we'll go through the usual waiting that we all remember so fondly from the 80s. And okay, we've found a program, and now we wait. And it loads, and it should load actually much quicker than it would have in the old days using the turbo tape setting. And we're done. Okay, shut that off, and let's run our game. Cento by OpByte. Fun game. You try to fill in as many squares as possible using various chess moves. Well, proof of concept, and here we go. It works, and you can get your programs into the VIC-20 and enjoy the bounty that is the internet. Now let's reverse the process and pull a program off of a VIC-20 cassette tape. All right, the VIC-20's fired up, and here is a 40-year-old tape that I made when I was a teenager. Games 1. And I've got it queued up to play a game that I used to love to play, typed in out of Compute's Gazette magazine called Hard Hat Climber. So let's load it. And press play on the tape, and here we go. Hurrah! Loaded. Okay, let's run it and have a little bit of gameplay here after the custom characters load, and this might look awfully familiar to some people. All right, we got our program loaded, but there's one more step that we ought to take before we try to turn this into a PRG file.
So we have Hard Hat Climber loaded, but these tapes are notoriously unreliable. So while we have this loaded, let's get the old tape out and put in a brand new one. Get forward to the leader. Oh, too far. Let's use the play function instead. And we get ourselves up past the leader. Lovely. Let's save it. And away we go.
And it is done. Okay, let's take this thing out of here, head back over to the main workstation, and get this thing into Audacity.
Okay, let's read back in the tape that we made from the VIC-20. I've got it in the cassette recorder right here, and let's push play after we hit record. Of course, we got a mono track going here in Audacity, 100% on the microphone, reading out of the USB audio device. Through the leader, and here comes our data. Okay, because this is notoriously slow on a VIC-20 and C64 for that matter, we'll move ahead in our coverage. Looks like the end of the program right there. Okay, now let's export this as a WAV file. And we're going to save this as HC for Hard Hat Climber. We'll call it 1 because maybe this isn't the only one we're going to need to make. And out it went, one would hope. And we're done with Audacity. Now we're back to WAV.PRG. We do want to convert a sound, our WAV file, to PRG, so we'll click OK. Default 64 is good. We don't need to invert the waveform in this case, but I would move the sensitivity up to 50. Yeah, right in the middle of the scale. Let's change our clock to a VIC-20 NTSC, and we'd like to make PRG files out of whatever is in that wave. And let's see, we can change where we want to save it. I'm going to save it, you can't see this off the screen, but into the My Documents folder. And here we come back, and I'm just going to click OK, and it'll find what it finds. Well, it'll find what it finds after I tell it what file I want to look at. I'd like to look at hc1.wave. Woof! And there it is. Fast as lightning. Okay, let's play the game that we just loaded in, Hard Hat Climber. Here it is in our Documents folder. We're going to just drag it over into the VIC emulator, and it loads it, and just like I remember. Oh, that's not what I remember. Thanks for watching the 6502 show. I really appreciate it. And if you liked the video, please hit the like button. If you want to subscribe and get up to date on new video content that's coming out, hit the subscribe button there as well. Thanks so much, and until we see each other again, take care.